What is the most insane thing you've put your body through? Staying up for 4 days on meth until I started hallucinating. My heart was pounding out of my chest. My muscles started seizing and tightening and I couldn't move my fingers, so I couldn't dial my phone very well. I didn't call 911, but I called my best friend and she didn't pick up. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I was parked on some neighborhood street, next to a tree. I decided I was gonna die here, alone, while some dude sat on his porch in a rocking chair across the street. So I made my peace because I didn't want to die scared and knew this was it. I had tunnel vision and my vision was going dark. And my heart was beating so fast I could no longer count the BPM. It felt like it was vibrating. I said to the tree, "Goodbye tree," and sort of let go. This was it. I was going to die at 19 from an OD. All alone. Parched and famished on some side street with a bag of dope in my pocket. After letting go, all of these symptoms slowly dissipated and I drove to class and took a psychology final and then drove to my best friend's house. She gave me a couple Xanax and held me until I fell asleep. It really had an impact on my sobriety for a couple weeks. Then I started using again. Haven't touched the stuff in a couple of years now. 9 months of cancer therapy. Motorcycle accident. Fractured my skull at a couple of places, burst an eardrum. I was really heavy on my grind for years. Taking caffeine pills, Adderall and drinking coffee all the time. One night it was so bad that I could feel my kidneys throbbing. My back was sore from dehydration, my chest was bumping so hard that it sounded like a drum in my ear. I thought to myself, maybe I should go to the hospital. What I ended up doing was going right back to sleep. To this day, my heart can't take much stress or I get chest pains. Cancer. Heavy drinking in my 20s. Pretty much would spend all weekend drinking. And usually a few weekdays as well. Once I woke up with vomit on both sides of my bed and in bed as well. A 72-hour orienteering. Patrolling. Defending. Base of operations, setting up an exam, taking exercise in the military. It was pretty fun though. Edit. Just to be clear, this was with zero sleep or rest. Except when you stopped to make yourself some food. Sure, you could take 5/10 of a minute here and there. But not very often. Endured constant fights for 3 years in middle school as someone who was 4 feet 9 back then. Childbirth x3. Drugs and divorce. Separate incidents. Drugs were mostly hallucinogens, which eventually led me to a severe psychological breakdown that took me the better part of 2-3 years to fully recover from. 6 months I couldn't even work. Sober over 10 years, but eventually replaced them with alcohol, which caused its own problems and contributed to what's happening now, and that's going through a separation after nearly 21 years. Together. That is proving to be nearly as damaging psychologically, just in a different way. At least this time I can partially afford a therapist. I'd say pledging a fraternity that ended with being kidnapped for a hell week. Which of course led to literal missing persons reports. A frat member receiving a written lifetime ban from an island. Almost no sleep or furniture for a week. Accidental breaking and entering. And a keg of skunked beer. I injured my calf playing basketball. Didn't have health insurance at the time. God bless the USA. So decided to not go to ER and treat it myself for a bit to see if it gets better. Friends convinced me it was a high ankle sprain. Probably. I iced it. Took some ibuprofen. Got a boot and a cane from the pharmacy and went to work the next day. I'm a camera operator, DOP for TV shows. I got a sports massage on the calf. Hurt like hell. And the pain got better in a week or so. Still didn't have range of motion and it was swollen and slightly bruised. Kept working. My friend was getting married in St. Martin and I promised to film his wedding. So I dragged my ass all the way there from Los Angeles, and as I was laying on the beach, one of the wedding guests came up to see why I wasn't swimming. She looked at my leg and immediately said, "I'm an MRI technician and you have a ruptured Achilles." I couldn't sleep googling it all night. The swelling, the bruising, the loss of range of motion all checked out. Dragged my ass back to LA. Got officially married to my fiancé. Bought health insurance. Went to a doc. Yup. Completely ruptured Achilles. 45 days I was schlepping around like that with it untreated. Got surgery. Had brutal recovery and had to walk down the aisle with a boot and a cane. Pregnancy. 5 months of bed rest. 2 surgeries while pregnant to stay pregnant long enough for my kid to be viable. Induced at 41 weeks after being told I would have a premature baby and spend a lot of time at the NICU after her birth. Emergent C-section when she showed distress after I stopped progressing at 5 to 6 centimeters dilated. Ended up with a 8-pound 13-ounce full-term healthy baby who only spent time in the newborn nursery. And went home with me when I was discharged. At one point during the pregnancy I was referred to a psychiatrist due to be severe anxiety. This was 2006, not as common then for psych referrals. I lost 15 to 20 pounds while pregnant due to anxiety that caused prolonged morning sickness and lack of appetite. And 5 to 7 pounds of muscle from immobility from bed rest. I still have issues with muscle weakness and cramps from this. Everyone wonders why she's an only child. Edit. I also forgot the removal of stitches in my cervix, 2 sets at 37 weeks without any anesthesia or pain relief. I almost broke my husband's hand. Anorexia. I was tired of being one of the chubby kids. So I just starved myself. Went from like 180 to 110 in about a month and a half. Got to 90 pounds at one point in college and started getting lesions and passing out and shit. Probably not good. Severe alcoholism for a year. To the point where I was drinking straight mouthwash. Lots of hospitalizations. I'm 29 and got sober from alcohol when I was 18 and relapsed when I was 28. It literally started right where I left off when I was 18. Horrible. Alcohol is no good. Being there for someone caught in addiction. The late night calls to come take care of them. The countless trips and hours in the hospital. The mood swings and all of it started taking a toll on me physically to the point I started feeling like I was the one using. I had to walk away after realizing there was nothing I could do. She lost her battle a little over a year ago and it tore me up. Still working through it, but it's a daily process. RIP LD, and I hope you finally have peace. Working every day 12+ hours without a day off, for more than a month. Currently pregnant with my first kid and realizing how wild this shit is. Organs relocate themselves. Stuff starts hurting in places you didn't know existed. Alcoholism. I got blackout drunk off of whiskey every night and 2 to 3 X a day on the weekends for months. Plus about a year on either side of that heavily drinking beer daily. But those liquor hangovers are unmatched. You don't know a real hangover until you've laid in the bed in the fetal position shaking and sweating for hours. I can't believe I was able to function like that for a sustained period of time. I was paralyzed from the waist down due to a spinal cord injury. Doctors said never walking again was a big possibility. 4 to 6 hours a day the past 3 to 4 years was dedicated to rehab. Massaging, stretching and exercises. After the first year I was walking again. But I couldn't stand up for too long. Now I climb, swim and weight lift. Deadlift is at 180 kilograms. Squat is 155 kilograms. Front squat 110, all at the BW of 74 kilograms. I think it helped that I'm only 25. But the body does amazing things given the time and effort to care for it properly.